Yes, hello. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you. So, how are you? How are you enjoying our
Good.
sessions today?
Yeah, there's some good ones. There's
Thank you.
a
So,
very
before we
diverse
start,
group. Yes.
yeah, please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, that I was just saying it's a very diverse group of speakers. It's pretty fun.
Thank you. So, thank you so much for joining this Day 3 Virtual Summit 2026. So, welcome on stage, Erin Smilstein. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, ma'am?
Very close. Milkstein.
Yes. Okay, well, time. Sorry. So yes, welcome on stage, Erin Milstein. She is a leadership strategist, transformational coach, entrepreneur, author, and international speaker, specializing in conscious leadership, organizational transformation, and AI-driven innovation. She empowers leaders and organizations to drive sustainable growth through human centered leadership, emotional intelligence, and strategic technology integration. Her work focuses on fostering resilient cultures, professional development, and meaningful organizational change. So, yes, the stage is all yours, Erin, and you can go ahead. Good luck.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you everyone for sticking around. And I know the sessions get late, but appreciate it. There's a lot of good things going on. So let me get my screen share started and tell you what we're going to be talking about today. Um, as you saw, we are definitely talking about AI. I approach it from a bit, perhaps, of a different standpoint, and like the intro said, from really the standpoint of how are we human within it. So that's why I call it keeping humans at the helm, meaning that we have this technology, we have this tool, but we can't let it take over everything, which it's kind of doing anyway. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining me. And just to give you a little background, I've been a math teacher, a business coach, and most recently, I'm in the corporate world as a leader in enablement, in product enablement. A couple years ago, I started doing AI training with systems and actually training the models that we use today. And a lot of the new features that you're kind of seeing roll out, in Google and in different platforms, I was part of the team that developed that and trained it in the back end and did the testing. So I kind of feel like I have a unique perspective how AI works, how where we come at it. So, from the backside, from the front side, looking at it that way. And then that kind of shapes where I come from with AI literacy probably being the most important skill that we don't teach. So many people, I would say everyone in the world almost has access to AI, but I would say very few people actually know what it is, how to use it well, and how to really frame it and what they do. So, basically, within being in education, in strategy, and then I do some energy work with people, I started to see a pattern. And that pattern was really giving away our sovereignty and outsourcing our thinking. So, it was first to the experts. You get your coaches and you say, okay, I'll do whatever you want. And then it was to technology, and now it's to AI. So I began focusing my work and really framing around what I call epistemic sovereignty, meaning staying aware of what you know and how you know it, especially as the tools start to get more persuasive and more sophisticated. So I do have thoughts on the future of AI, and I even wrote a novel about it. But let's just start with a quick story, just sort of analogy to kind of go through and frame what we're talking about today. So picture this: you're at work and someone brings in a little jar of a homemade spice blend. Wow, someone says this is good. And you're like, oh, I wonder how they made it. They go, well, it's Sally's Spice. It's absolutely incredible. You have to try it. Someone else says, I use it on everything and it'll change the way you cook. And you're missing out if you don't use this. So now everyone's using it on everything because apparently it makes everything better. And everyone now has Sally's Spice. The leaders are demanding that we use it and that everybody get their little jar and they start implementing it and using it immediately. Sound familiar? Yeah. At this point, let me just pause. This is pretty much how AI tools have entered the workplace. It's really rapid spread, it's universal adoption, and it's kind of this use it or be left behind mentality. But here's the question that nobody really bothers to ask. And we're going back to Sally's, like, who is Sally? What really is in that jar? But like all good companies and, good tech trends, we do exactly what we're told without knowing why. We start sprinkling Sally's on everything. The spice goes everywhere. It's the lunch meetings become testing sessions. Everyone's experimenting. They're like, oh, you did that. Let me try this. And it's really exciting. People are really excited about it. Yeah, you got some chicken? Put Sally's spice on. Boom, it works. It's better. You got your first case study. Someone else puts it on salad. Oh my gosh, it's amazing again. Second case study. Pasta? Wow, another win. Everyone is just finding these ways to make Sally's work everywhere. So the thing is, though, we're all using it in the exact same way. We're taking the exact same amounts. That's because that's what we were told to do, and we don't really have any other reference. And everything starts to taste the same. So then comes the office potluck, and everybody brings their signature dish, the thing that they've been working on in the background, and they're so proud of it. Guess what happens? Everything starts tasting exactly the same. My chicken casserole tastes like Janet's pasta, which tastes like Mike's roast vegetables. Everything we do and have done is now basically lost its unique flavor because we've been chasing this one magic ingredient. And that, I think, is what AI's greatest risk is right now. When we let algorithms optimize everything, everything starts to look or taste exactly the same. So what I want you to walk away with right now after we talk is don't just sprinkle AI on all your business. You got to shape it. You got to question it. You got to lead it. You have to be the leader that asks, well, what's really in Sally's jar? Like, why are we using this? But then if everything starts to taste the same, you have to think of something different. So I started saying in my AI journey, well, what if I treated Sally Spice, going back to cooking, not as the whole solution, but one ingredient in how I enhance my own recipes? Like, what if Sally Spice isn't the thing that makes everything better, but what if it's a tool that I can use so that I am not reinventing the wheel, but I'm contributing something and it's making things uniquely mine, but just enhanced? And suddenly, what I find is that my food starts tasting like my food again, just a little better. It's enhanced, not replaced. So this is exactly what's happening in AI right now. And that's the difference that's going to be between copying the trends and adapting them, or between following and creating value. And as you've seen, everybody's getting their little jar of AI and sprinkling it on everything. The adoption of AI in companies right now is nearing 100%, except everyone is not doing things in the same way. So here's what the data shows. There is a significant gender gap in the way that AI adoption is used. Men, about half of all men, have used generative AI in their work tools compared to only a third of women. And women are far less likely to hold tech leadership positions and far more concerned about ethical implications. They're 16 points less likely to use ChatGPT or an LLM in their daily work. And why is that? Well, it's because women tend to stop and say, wait a second, is this ethical? Is this fair? What are the consequences? What is this doing to my work? Do I still look knowledgeable? Is it cheating? Worried that we're not demonstrating our own expertise if we're using the tools. So we're twice as likely as men to worry about the negative AI impacts in our jobs, in medical diagnosis, and now in hiring. But the irony is that women are proudly stepping back from AI because of ethical concerns, perhaps thinking it makes us look more ethical, more strategic, more, able to do our jobs and be competent, maybe even righteous. But the problem is AI isn't slowing down, and the people building it and training it continue moving it forward but now it's without our ethical input. So only 22% of AI workers are women. And when we are not in the room where the decisions are being made, there tends to be a significant bias in the systems. In fact, over 44% of AI systems show gender bias when they give results. And this isn't theoretical. AI screams women out of job applications, misdiagnoses health conditions, it denies us credit, and that's because AI is a system. It's not making determinations itself. It's taking the data it was given and coming up with the best, most probable answer for it. And it's learning from data that is already discriminated against us. So when women aren't present where AI decisions are being made, our perspectives, our needs, and our experiences are being left out of the technology that's being built. AI systems, whether we like it or not, are learning in our absence, and they're getting really good at thinking like the people who are in the room. Now, if you've hesitated about AI, and that's great, that's actually good, it means you have ethical concerns or some concerns, or you're questioning it. But that is exactly what technology needs. However, I need to warn that having the wisdom alone to stop and say, well, let's see if we should or shouldn't use it. The discernment without engagement is abdication of responsibility. Meaning, if we say, well, I'm going to step away, I'm not going to use it because I have concerns, but I don't engage with it to make it better, I'm letting someone else take all the responsibility and make all the decisions. So what we need is a higher confidence level before we try new things. That is just, thoughtful women leaders tend to want to know and have answers before they dive into new technology, where men generally jump in without deep prior knowledge. We're also more likely to strictly follow unclear AI policies and usages. And like I said before, worried about being seen as less competent if we use these tools. But the way I see it, there's really two paths forward. So one of them is kind of our dystopian, everything goes wrong. The other one is, okay, let's step into this thoughtfully and shape the future. So let's go path one, where essentially technology becomes the master. We build the tools to serve us, yet we find ourselves serving the tools. The algorithms we create to enhance human potential are now dictating our choices, opportunities, and worth. And this is where we abdicate our human judgment and let the algorithm make our decisions. And it's really easy to do. Giving away sovereignty to technology is very easy. And I really did learn this lesson the hard way. So just quick story. I joined a mastermind a couple years ago, and it offered this really detailed strategy and promises of huge financial growth. I mean, who wouldn't like that, right? That's why we join masterminds. I was going to learn how to build my credibility, land speaking gigs, and it was going to really enhance my business. Well, it kind of faded from being something where you were learning tools to build up your knowledge to let's just build and train AI, and that'll be your transformation. So everybody was excited but a little confused, and really this was kind of this sense of don't ask questions, trust the process. You had to have a willingness to do whatever the leader said. And something always felt off to me, but I thought that was just me because I didn't know enough. So between the demands of loyalty to the program and honestly insults about my competence, I was convinced that I needed to keep pursuing it because I needed to feel like I was useful and worthy of it. Even though I was being told kind of weakly, you don't know anything. This is the only way to do it. So I'm like, heck, I've survived worst. I can do this. I will definitely learn something. And then I definitely did. I learned a lot. But after 6 months, part of the requirements was to use a really complex script and kind of build a digital twin of yourself, which I did. So I programmed it to, in my voice, with my values, a lot of prompting went into it. Now I kind of had this digital twin that I could bounce ideas off of, and it was really cool. I could brainstorm and it would kind of work with me. And I used it to discuss my concerns about the group. So one day I was kind of saying, this feels really weird. I don't like this next thing coming up. There was a really manipulative demand for loyalty. So I asked my AI self, well, what should I do next? Without hesitation, it said, get out. It said, you're in a cult. And that blew me away. And that was the first time that I looked at what I was doing with the machine, with the learning, with the AI technology, and how I was just blindly following it. I hadn't asked a stranger if this group was healthy. I kind of kept it to myself because I figured everybody else was doing it. I better do it too. But I asked the version of myself that I built with my own values in my own voice. And it was like, you should not be doing this. This is not a healthy place to be. So needless to say, I stopped going to group calls and I started really digging into the epistemic sovereignty, like how, when we're given all these tools and told we need to use them, how do we make sure that we're still the voice in the room? So that's what I want you to sit with, really, that handing over your discernment doesn't really happen all at once. It happens piece by piece. There's a little bit of charisma, a little bit of extra, like, use this tool, it's going to make things better. Well, now you're suddenly second guessing everything that you've ever known about what you do. And your internal compass is now following someone else's map. It's really easy, but it's so slow that you don't really realize it unless something completely shouts it at you. But this really isn't about cults, and it's more about the codependency on the gurus, on the platforms, and now on the algorithms. And that made me realize that blindly doing what the gurus or the AI told me to do wasn't going to work for me. And honestly, I don't want it to work for you either. So what we've done now that we started pushing AI into everything is we essentially created workplaces where the humans must perform like machines to satisfy the algorithm who's overseeing what the humans do. There are systems now that flag times and minutes used at lunch breaks and tracks bathroom visits and scores them. Says spontaneous collaboration is flagged as inefficiency. You weren't typing. Why, what were you doing? So in our relentless search, I would say, of productivity measures, we've created workplaces where humans don't get to perform like humans. And what's the result? Our leadership starts to look the same. It's kind of generic. If you go on LinkedIn, you're going to find that most successful executives increasingly share similar LinkedIn profiles. Their educational backgrounds are similar. Their communication patterns are similar. AI systems reward conformity, creating a homogeneous leadership class that lacks the diverse perspective needed to actually navigate complex challenges. And when we become dependent on external systems that tell us what to think and choose and do, we find that organizational leaderships also become dependent on AI for every choice. Now we are lacking judgment. We're not using our own judgment and discernment in the choices we're making. We're saying, oh, but I better run it through ChatGPT and see what it says. But honestly, this should not be called progress. This is the surrender of human agency. And as we already know, it's really already happening. This is what surrender looks like. I better not make a decision by myself. And I know I am definitely guilty of that. Like, I'm going to send this email. Maybe I should run it through chat. You don't always have to use what chat says, though. Sometimes what you said was the best way to do it. So let's look at the brighter path, the technology serving our mission, where we use technology as a tool. It is not the master anymore. It is the tool. I have a program that I wrote called Smarter Than Your Bot. And it is really about digging into what AI is and what AI isn't, which I think is just a foundational thing that everybody should learn. Even kids in school, know what it can do, know what it can't, and know why it does it, so that that AI handles data analysis, but ultimately humans need to interpret that data and make the best choices. So having the human strength of intelligence, creativity, problem solving, ethical concerns, and having AI do its magical thing, which is hugely fast data processing, putting those things together, we have a combined superpower that we can use. But when we start letting the AI do all the decisions for us, we lose that. So the key is to keep your authentic voice, your values, and your unique perspective and keep it intact so that it actually gets amplified by the AI, not dampened by it to the point where you start sounding like everybody else. So just one more, proof of concept in my life is that I have an AI studio. It's a platform I call My Made Studio. MADE stands for Marketing and Design Essentials. You can get this suite from me. You can get this tool suite, and where AI handles all the production work, but ultimately you stay in charge of the branding strategy, the client relationships, and the other important pieces that make somebody really love a brand. That stays with you because that part requires human judgment and trust. And those are the things that no algorithm should ever touch. So, which way are we going to go? Right now, every day that you use AI, you can choose. Are you going to let it be your master or are you going to let it be your tool? Are you going to take that power and that sovereignty and be in charge of it, or are you going to surrender and say, well, I guess I'll just do whatever it says? So I want to kind of give you a framework to make that choice consciously. And I call it the 4 pillars of conscious AI leadership. The first one is discernment over default, meaning trust your instincts. If something feels off about the AI recommendation, investigate it. You need to be smarter than your bot. So don't accept whatever output it gives you. Make it tell you what you need it to tell you. Demand that it's excellent. I mean, I literally wrote a book about the dangers of letting computers make all our decisions. Now, the second part is running AI decisions through your value filter, because just because AI can do something doesn't mean it should. If it feels a little weird to use AI for something, probably don't. The second pillar is transparency over this black box thinking. And the black box is essentially that AI is really smart. It knows what it's doing. It can do everything for us. It's just this, nebulous black box where we type something in and the magic of the universe comes together. But if you can't understand where and how it made a decision, you can't lead responsibly with it. So be transparent with your team and how you're using AI. If you use it, just admit it. I used AI clearly for this presentation. The ideas are mine, but it's really nice to have something put together, a PowerPoint for me. I got to be honest about that. Lead by example. So if you're using it, show your team where you use it. In my current work, I built a entire Python script that takes care of a problem that I was told by engineers couldn't be solved. They said, it's going to be too hard. We're going to have to do, a bunch of coding. I was like, let me see what I can do. That leveled the playing field a lot. I solved something where we can now get 10,000 PDFs exported on these different variables in a matter of seconds without having the client worry about it. It's actually really cool. The third pillar is inclusion. Now, this one's hard because a lot of times inclusion ends up slowing us down if we think efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. However, actively seeking diverse perspectives when implementing AI systems is really important. So we can't, as leaders, let efficiency override equity. The guys in tech shouldn't be the only ones making decisions on how things operate. We have to be able to say, I'm not sure about that, or let me see if that's really the way we want to go. And you don't need to have a computer science degree to shape AI right now. A few things that you can actually do. So those little thumbs up, thumbs down when you're using a chat, use them because those go back to a developer back into the system programming and the retraining to be used. So if it's a terrible answer, let it know. Yes, it slows you down a little bit, perhaps. Even putting some feedback in there, that gets back to someone who then goes through retraining and has people like me go back through and really see, was that a good answer, bad answer? And then a human actually in those training sessions is the one telling the AI whether or not it was a good answer, bad answer. However, if I'm one of, 22 women out of 100 people telling what's good and bad answers, there's clearly a discrepancy there in the bias. There's a website on here. I hope you can see it. weandai.org, which is actually a place for just what I'm talking about, like getting people who are not AI experts involved in use cases and flagging fairness and transparency concerns. If your AI is starting to make things up, name it. Don't let it get away with that. And even if you are not a decision maker, you can push in your workplace to make sure that systems are built on models that are not biased before they get deployed. Finally, the last pillar is this wisdom over speed. And that means putting in some human checkpoints in the AI process. Some decisions really do require you to pause. They need the context and the relationships that only humans can provide. Preserving space for where humans to connect, collaborate, and create meaning together is very important. So we can't just all sit in our little ChatGPT rooms or, with Claude and get everything done ourselves. We have to make a choice to collaborate with other people. So remember, just like Sally Spice, using the same AI tool, it's depending on the context, it's going to need to be used differently in different contexts. In fact, you might not always want to use the same tool across everything. So if you have been, you just love this one tool and you use it for everything, you may want to step back and see, wait a second, maybe having another LLM, we have ChatGPT, we have Claude, Perplexity is out there. There's several of them. Maybe having another one, Meta.ai, all of them have their strengths and weaknesses, and kind of building your portfolio and what you would call your tech stack of different tools can really empower you, because it's not necessarily that one is going to always answer all the questions that you need in the same way. More about that in other courses, but really about keeping humans at the helm. That means keep the ethical concerns and the AI literacy on how we shape our future in the forefront of your mind. So my invitation to you is step into this. We have this tool now. It is here to stay. It is not going anywhere for a very long time, but don't let your wisdom sit on the sidelines. Step fully into your power, which means use what you have to influence how AI shapes our world. Use the technology as the tool it was meant to be, and not as the thing where we give away all our sovereignty and just, sit on the beach and hope that AI does our jobs for us. That's never really going to work. We've seen all the movies. Lastly, I just want to give you a way to stay in touch. I did put the link to the AI toolbox again. If anybody wants to talk to me about it, kind of walk through it, see what it's like, happy to do that. If you do sign up, I'll give you 1,000 free credits. But I am happy to take some questions.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It echoed a little bit, but I
Thank
can
you
hear
so
you.
much, Aaron, for sharing your inspiring and motivational presentation with Global Virtual Summit and also about the AI. So, so there is multiple questions related to your presentation. So I can pick up two questions for you. How can
Sure.
women leaders confidently embrace AI without feeling they need a technical background?
That is a really good question, and I think a lot of people do feel that, because a lot of us tend to be in either, industries, or what we do perhaps isn't with technology, it's in a softer place. One thing you can do is work with somebody. Find somebody who does know the technology to walk you through it. Another way is you can sort of dip your toes in. You can use it. You can ask it questions. I think really powerful is learning how to make good prompts. I do something where I create JSON files, which are prompts. They're like coded prompts that I store on my computer, and then I feed them in to my chats as I go, because I want my chat always to be set up to do what I need it to do. I think another way to do it is sort of jump in, but you can do it in smaller ways, meaning, let's say there's a problem you have to solve. Ask, When I did the Python thing, I am not a coder at all. So I had to say, break it down to me and put one like 5 words of the next step I'm supposed to do at a time. And don't do anything else until I tell you to. And it took me hours to get it, but it's something that I can replicate now pretty quickly. And I was able to teach that to other people and have them be able to do it too. So we really use the technology to our advantage. But I don't want people to get stuck thinking I have to be a technical guru. I do want them to get stuck in recognizing that we probably, as is, don't have all the answers and don't know how the technology works. So I do recommend finding some courses like what is AI? How does it work? And kind of digging into that. There's a ton of resources out there.
Answering this question. I think Rita, she's the one who asked this question. She got the answer. And one more question for you. What is the biggest misconception leaders have about AI today?
I think the biggest misconception is that it's going to solve everything. I would say that's probably it. That AI, if you use it, things will be better. And that's not necessarily the case. You have to use it along with the people, the relationships, understanding that your end user is still a person who wants to still talk to a person. Um, just went through a very interesting, uh, a whole upgrade of a system. Now it's all AI. Customers are very upset about it. They do not like it because they want to be able to talk to a person. So you have to be able to look at it in 2 ways. Not just that AI is going to make us more efficient and save us money, but that there's a person on the other side that also wants to feel valued. So I would say that's where the biggest misconception is, that saving us time and money is the best thing we can do for customers. And that's not necessarily true. We need them to feel valued.
Okay, I think, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining this Global Virtual Summit. And we are ending this event for today. So, all the speakers and the audience have also shared their feedback, and all the beautiful ladies at one stage sharing their valuable and inspirational, motivational presentations today. And so, last speaker is Erin Celis for this day three event, and it's really a good end as well. Thank you.
Thanks for sticking out the day with me, everyone. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the successful completed of the day three event. We are thrilled to announce the successful completion of day one and day two of the global day two and day three of the Global Virtual Summit 2026. So over the past 3 days, we have been inspired by outstanding keynote speakers, visionary leaders, accomplished authors, entrepreneurs, research thought-provoking presentations, powerful stories, and valuable insights have created an unforgettable learning experience for our global audience. A sincere thank you to all our distinguished speakers, participants, organizing team, technical team, and attendees for your enthusiasm, support, and active participation. Your contributions have made this submit a remarkable success. So thank you so much for being so patient with us till now. This is Melinda Roy signing off for the Day 3 Virtual Event 2026. Bye bye.